What's a modern-day poison people willingly ingest? 1. 24-hour news cycle. My grandparents, all day every day, it pains me to see. I've noticed this among my age group, boomers TV on practically 24/7, especially news, and it repeats the same thing over and over. Spent the day with a friend and that's all they wanted to do was sit and watch the news. They'd comment on something. Then an hour later when the same story was repeated, they'd comment age like we hadn't already heard the same thing an hour ago. I don't even own a TV, and everything about my life is so very, very different. I replaced my mother-in-law's TV habit with adult coloring books and Alexa playing music all day. She's happier and has no more paranoia. That's amazing, but man, aren't these people supposed to be older and wiser than us? Why do they fall for the TV bait so easily? Here are two possible pieces of the puzzle. People had a higher degree of accountability a few decades ago, or at least people in power generally acted with tact in public. So now when a channel that says news blatantly lies at all times to promote political agendas, a lot of older people seem to just believe it and roll with it. The older people in the US generally grew up with much more hateful ideologies that preach that there's a specific blueprint to be a good person, have a good life, etc., and anyone outside that is wrong. It still happens, of course, but instead of your parents, preacher, and racist uncle or whatever being your only source of knowledge and opinion, you have access to any viewpoint and more perspectives via the internet. So the people who grew up without that diversity of perspective are easier to manipulate because of their dwelling on and voting with their hatred. Couple that with how scary change can be in general and how fast things are changing, and you can see how it's easy to whip older people into a state of panic to manipulate them. As you age, you will find that almost all entertainment is no longer for your demographic, and you will lose interest. Also, boomers grew up on Walter Cronkite and Davis Brinkley. News sources were trusted. They even deserve to be trusted a fair amount of the time. Unlike today, they see news as important and vital for them to watch. On top of that, they are overwhelmed by too much change too fast. Their core beliefs have been bypassed years ago. Now, cable news networks fighting for ratings and clicks tell them alarming things and they think they need to stay on top of it all. I no longer watch or read any news. I've had people tell me I'm ignorant because of it. Fair enough. But constantly hearing about politics, who's been murdered /bleep, where a bomb or natural disaster has killed thousands of innocent people, how bleep the economy is, etc. on a loop just ruined my mental health and self-esteem. It takes me 45 minutes to drive to work, and I used to listen to the news that whole time. By the time I got to work, my day and mood would be ruined by 9 a.m. Of course, horrible things are going on in the world, but I'm one person. It sounds ignorant, but there's not much I can do to change things. Yes, of course, every voice counts, but again, I'm just one person. Now that I'm no longer hearing constant negativity and how the world is bleep, I realize that life is honestly quite alright. Nothing's perfect, but I'm so much happier now. Negativity gets clicks/listens more than positivity does, and news channels capitalize on this and give people the worst, most sensationalized news possible to keep them listening. People weren't designed to know more than a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 people maximum. Natural empathy is being overloaded, and your soul damaged by constantly hearing about millions of people suffering who we have no capability to help or comfort. I also have this theory that we were not built to handle reading the thoughts of so many other people. Like, literally reading people's posts and comments and tweets all day has a profound impact on the human psyche. When you read things, you are creating a voice in your own head. You are hearing the innermost feelings and thoughts of thousands of people every day, echoed back to you in your own voice, inside your own head. A cacophony of internal dialogue that doesn't go anywhere, it just rests in your brain like a part of you, being tossed around until the brain finds ways to connect it to your own actual experiences. This can be beneficial if you're trying to learn a new skill or language. But most people just absorb bleep that makes them feel bad, or validates their cynicism in some way, or reinforces negative thoughts they've already been having. We are filling our minds with countless thoughts that on some level, the brain can't really distinguish as belonging to us or others. This has to be having a profound and dangerous effect on the way we look at ourselves and the world. 2. Social media. Deplatforming myself off of most social media has given me a huge change in mood for the better. I'm pretty sure with the amount of vitriol that gets thrown around in social media, I would have gone mental after a while. I'm glad that I have given myself more opportunities to live in the moment of my life rather than deal with others judging me for superficial and wasteful reasons. Humanity has never experienced such constant negative reinforcement. In the spirit of your comment, you're misusing negative reinforcement. That's when you reinforce a behavior by taking something away, like an annoying sound. Positive is when you add something, like giving a treat. So when people act like bleep online and get likes/upvotes, that is positive reinforcement? Yes, usually. Something is being added that encourages the behavior to repeat. Reddit. Truth. It's mostly low-quality information, incorrect information, and reposts of tweets. An endless cycle of nonsense. My mood, general happiness, attitude, and motivation are inversely proportional to the amount of time I spend on Reddit. Yet here I am. I have a book to work on. I have things to clean. I have an army to paint. Instead of doing those things, I'm watching people complain about how frustrating traffic is in cities, skylines, a game I do not play. I'm not going to dispute your claim, but have you ever been on Twitter? I don't touch the hard bleep. Sometimes I touch it just to make sure I'm still immune to it. Occasionally I'll type a reply, but then I remind myself that the algorithm runs on hatred and outrage, and I close the app. I wish I could get it to just show me the funny stuff, but it always seems to want to test how much vitriol it can drip feed me before I turn it off. 3. Those shorts videos now are on almost every platform. If you have problems with focus and getting bleep done, then you know that if you keep watching them, you might end up the next day without even realizing you haven't done anything yet. One creator I watch on YouTube has basically said, I have to resort to making these shorts or I'll disappear as a creator. It's crappy that these platforms are forcing it on everyone involved. Yay, I follow a few people, and they're always apologizing about clickbait titles and misleading thumbnails, but say they don't get nearly as much traffic without them. I really do think TikTok and its clones, Reels, YT Shorts, etc., were designed to deliberately shorten young people's attention spans. We're quickly headed for the bleep version of cyberpunk as our global future, and young people are the only ones who can/will do anything about it. But it's a lot harder to actually sit and think and organize when you're basically addicted to little 10-second dopamine hits with "oh no 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 no" playing in the background. They want us complacent, dumb, and unable to focus, and it's working extremely well. 4. Alcohol. Having it in moderation is fine to some people. They can have one or two. Others, like myself, let it get its nasty hands on our lives. It can turn you upside down quick like. Proud to say I'm 21 days sober and no plans of going back. Congratulations. Alcohol is literally a poison though, whether someone is addicted or not. Alcohol in any form is a poison and not good for you. The whole, 1 glass of red wine per day is good for your heart, is a myth. The WHO, as well as many other orgs, are finally coming out and agreeing it is straight toxic, carcinogenic, and unnecessary. There is no solid science that proves that a drink is better than no drink. If I remember correctly, that science was based on social interaction occurring during that one drink. That social interaction had more benefits than the negative downside of consuming alcohol. Now if you're drinking on your couch alone, obviously that isn't beneficial. 5. Outrage. It's straight up poison to your mental health, but we thrive on it and yearn for it. Places like TikTok, Twitter, and r/public freakout pass it out like dealers for little more than some attention, poisoning people to feel popular. Worse, it's useful to those in control, so there's no escaping it. Political parties and activists need you outraged, one-tracked, immune to real empathy, and motivated to solidify their power, so here we are. I read 1984 a few weeks ago, and the description of the 2 minutes hate honestly kind of scared me once I understood it. For context, it is a daily ceremony where all people gather around a TV-like device and watch a government propaganda broadcast focused on brewing hatred. The horrible thing about the 2 minutes hate was not that one was obliged to act a part, but on the contrary, that it was impossible to avoid joining in. Within 30 seconds, any pretense was always unnecessary. A hideous ecstasy of fear and vindictiveness, a desire to kill, to torture, to smash faces in with a sledgehammer, seemed to flow through the whole group of people like an electric current, turning one even against one's will into a grimacing, screaming lunatic. And yet the rage that one felt was an abstract, undirected emotion that could be switched from one object to another, like the flame of a blowlamp. Quote. 6. Those talking videos with like 3 things happening on the screen simultaneously. Social media is already absolutely atrocious for attention span. Using that many distractions on a 30s clip just exponentially enhances that problem. I don't subscribe to anybody that does that sort of bleep, But the first time I saw a video that was meant to be informative, with Minecraft parkour in the background on the top half, and funny cat memes on the bottom half, I realized we've reached internet supersaturation. We can't go any lower, we've reached internet rock bottom, I hope. Edit. I forgot people will see this as a challenge, we are doomed apparently. I thought the multi-split content screens were mostly a tactic to circumvent the hosting platform's anti-piracy/copyright algorithms. Most of what I've seen has the copyright content on one part of the screen, Minecraft, etc. on the second part, plus a secondary soundtrack in the background. Wrong or right? You are right, it's not made to grab people's attention, it's for avoiding copyright issues, usually with other people's content. It started that way, but it's not just that anymore. It is now a meme. Not even a meme, it genuinely just performs better compared to normal videos without it. 7. Processed sugars. Cutting sugar back makes me feel so much better. I've been in decent shape for most of my life. I got into running a lot last year and felt pretty good. When fall hit and the times changed, I slowed down my running. Then I had my first kid in late fall and basically stopped running altogether. Lots of quick meals mixed with holiday food and sodas and sweets keep me moving. I didn't want to think about being hungry with a kid to manage, so I just munched on quick stuff that usually had lots of sugar in it. I've cut that all back over the last few weeks and feel a lot better. The best part is not feeling bloated. I could almost feel my gut growing during that period. Not fun. Women in particular, I think, need to hear this advice more often. But it's good advice for anyone who is stuck in a cycle of unhealthy eating and shame. Stop cutting out unhealthy foods from your diet, and stop trying to lose weight by under-eating/doing a ton of cardio. That bleep never works to do anything in the long run except drive you crazy with endless cravings and a guilt/shame cycle designed to keep you trapped. Sorry about it, I said what I said. Instead of subtracting, add whole foods, add exercise. In particular, strength training is as important if not more so than cardio, both for overall health and long-term weight loss/metabolism boosting. You will not get bulky. Add protein. Add mindfulness. Stop giving so many fucks about what you look like. It's not going to change overnight anyway. You're not morally obligated to be skinny or to be healthy, so stop beating yourself up over it. The first week you'll still eat a lot of bleep in addition to the good stuff, but what else is new? That's what progress looks like at first. Slowly over time though, thanks to the mindfulness part, you'll notice that you feel better when you're doing the healthier things like eating those whole foods or hitting the gym. If not, reflect on why and make changes. Usually it's too many restrictions or unrealistic goals. That mood boost will be your primary motivator. Hard day? I just want to feel better. Well, I felt better yesterday after I went out for a run. Midday slump. I had more energy after I ate a banana last Thursday. Why not do that bleep again? Oh hey look, I feel better now. Rinse and repeat until it's a habit. Over the course of several weeks/months, if you're eating enough good food and getting enough exercise, you'll notice that you just naturally don't want to eat the bleep that you used to crave. Of course, you still will sometimes, and you should be able to enjoy those sometimes without guilt, but you'll want them less often and with less intensity. That's just a byproduct of being satiated with a varied diet of whole foods, instead of extremely hungry, undernourished, and subject to the whims of spiking/crashing blood sugar levels. Then one day you'll go to the grocery store with your shopping list, and without even realizing it, you'll walk right through the cookie section on your way to pick up cottage cheese, greens, fresh fruits, eggs, rice, chicken breast, steel-cut oats, etc. And it won't be until you're on your way out that you'll realize, hey, buying all that junk food didn't even cross my mind. Once you get to the end of all that, several months if not a few years in, you've probably lost weight, and for sure you'll be a lot healthier. Congratulations. Calories in/calories out should make you feel better, not worse. 8. I'm gonna say vaping. I knocked it on the head as my New Year's resolution. First time I've been completely nicotine-free, and still going strong, but I genuinely felt like I was about to cough my lungs up about 90% of the time vaping. If I have to be honest, I don't miss either, but I started vaping to stop smoking. I hate seeing young kids and teens do it, ones who wouldn't have even considered smoking. Edit. I'm talking disposable vapes, should have clarified that beforehand. I truly lucked out. When I got pregnant, I had to stop vaping for obvious reasons, but my nausea was so bad, I couldn't even be in the same room as vape juice without vomiting. Huge aversions. After I had my baby, I wanted that nicotine again, but thankfully my aversions are still going strong. Been 3 years vape-free. If you look at the percentages over the years, teens aren't vaping at a higher rate than teens were smoking in the 80s. It's been a pretty much straight replacement. 20 to 30% of teens engage in vice, it's the same for sex. It's the same for alcohol, it's the same for weed, and it's the same for nicotine. At a certain point, you have to look at the long-term data and realize that we can't curtail these things no matter how much we try to legislate them, and the best thing we can do is make the vices safer, and despite not being sin-free, vaping is infinitely preferable to smoking. 9. Soda. I used to drink it a lot. I had terrible health issues and sleep issues. I cut it all out. Been maybe 2 years without it. I feel better, I'm sick less, I sleep better, and I function better overall. Just replace it with water. If you live in the Western world, you most likely have clean drinking water being pumped into your house. I don't believe in banning something because I don't like it, but I do think that bleep is poison. It's also super addictive. The first couple weeks I cut soda out was rough. Then we give this to kids, and it screws up their systems. Edit. I've never had a comment get this kind of attention. Quickly going through the replies, I want to say congratulations to everyone who kicked the habit, or other ones like smoking. Second, there are absolutely people not affected by it. If you drink it in moderation, it's not too bad. I admit I was really bad at it. My main concern with it is that there's nothing good about Coke or Pepsi. It's just sugar, caffeine, and addictive ingredients. That's why I use the term poison. It only has negative effects with it. Now that being said, if you enjoy soda, then go for it. It's your life. If you can do it in moderation, even better. The thing is, we market it so hard to kids, and many parents just let them overindulge. Again, not all, but a good chunk. My parents let me have way too much. Also, all my stuff is anecdotal. I'm not a doctor, but every doctor I had when I was younger would tell me I need to stop drinking it. I would tell them I would, and then not because I was young. It caught up to me though. If you're young now and pounding back several cans a day, then it's probably going to hurt you too. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and every one of my friends who were like me was in the same boat with health issues. If you can keep it in moderation, then great, but watch how much you drink. I went from drinking soda exclusively to water exclusively overnight like 2 years ago. Noticed exactly 0 physical changes. I quit for the long-term health benefits / fear of kidney stones, but beyond that, I didn't experience the life-changing burst of energy and wellness that everyone talks about. I also didn't get the now soda just tastes too sweet / gross. I have a glass of Sprite or root beer every few months at sit-down restaurants, and it's exactly as bleep delicious as I remember it every time. Dude, you hit it on the head because I could have written that word for word. I'm guessing the people who cut it out may not be healthy to begin with, and the new influx of water is huge for them. I've always exercised, eaten well, and drank water, so cutting out soda did very little for me, aside from not consuming excess sugar and other garbage, which was my main reason. Mountain Dew still slaps so hard months later, haha. 10. Personally, I'm horrendously addicted to nicotine, and it's probably killing me. I smoked 2.5 packs a day for 18 years and quit cold turkey the day my wife told me she was pregnant with our first kid. That was pretty difficult. Haven't touched nicotine since, but man, I miss it. I have dreams where I'm smoking, and I wake up feeling guilty that I ruined my streak. I had a failed back surgery a few years later, major malpractice that resulted in partial paralysis, and an uncontrolled pain crisis for over a year, resulting in me taking massive amounts of oxy. They had me on 180 milligrams extended release 3x day and 50 milligrams normal 6x day, among other things. After 3 years of this, I couldn't take it anymore, and I went to my brother's and quit the opiates cold turkey. I would quit smoking 1,000 times in a row before going through the opiate withdrawals again. Quitting smoking is hard, but at least it doesn't hurt. 11. Energy drinks. I ordered food from McDonald's and the cashier was like, "That Monster isn't good for your heart." Oh, is it not? Am I not making healthy choices? This is a fallacy. One Monster energy drink contains the same amount of caffeine as a tall Starbucks coffee. There is generally far less caffeine in energy drinks than what regular coffee drinkers consume daily. People drink them much faster, more palatable, and not hot, which is one reason they get jittery. The additives are just artificial sweeteners and vitamins. I've always wondered about the demonization of energy drinks. I agree that the high amount of caffeine and sugar is problematic, but most people ingest those in other ways, so it's a caffeine/sugar problem, not an energy drink one. I think it's just all the scary chemical-sounding names like taurine and carnitine. Those definitely sound like alien substances that will destroy your heart if you didn't know they are already naturally produced in your body. 12. Work 5 to 6 days a week and having no life. The commuting. I knew a guy who moved from the city to the suburbs so he could enjoy lounging around his house and playing in the backyard instead of being in an apartment. He spends more than an hour commuting each way, meaning he gets home, does a few chores, watches a show or plays a game, and goes to bed because he has to wake up early. He actually has less leisure time to enjoy life. Also +1 on the commutes. I work the 9 to 5 5 days a week, but since all but getting rid of my commute, I have so much more time when work's over. And I don't have to get up nearly as early. It's been great, and I wish more people had that option or could simply reduce their work hours without reduced pay. Our work culture is such a bad poison overall though. So many of the bad habits of our daily lives are because we're trying to reclaim our personal time. Our diets turn to fast food, so we reduce the time we spend cooking. Sleep procrastination is huge and probably as big a contributor to our overall health problems as our diets, drugs, and other escapist hobbies aren't fulfilling so much as they are attempts at distracting from a dreary life outlook. 13. That high fructose corn syrup. The problem with high fructose corn syrup, beyond just being refined sugar, contributes as they do to blood sugar spikes, overeating, obesity, and diabetes, is that this inexpensively mass-produced sweetener made soft drinks and other sugary drinks dirt cheap, resulting in buy one, get one offer on 2 liters at supermarkets, free refills at restaurants, gigantic serving sizes at the convenience store or the drive-thru, multiple generations of young people wrinkling their noses in disgust at the thought of drinking a nice refreshing glass of water, because it doesn't taste like anything. And that last part is easy to undersell. Dehydration is a chronic health problem in the US that contributes to many others. It also made adding sugar to damn near everything the cheapest way to enhance the flavor, so it showed up in all kinds of unexpected places at the supermarket. And caused the landscape to be dotted with crappy restaurants, as pizza sauces became cloyingly sweet. Proper barbecue joints gave way to crappy chains serving spongy meats slathered with sugary dollar store quality barbecue sauce. That's practically brown ketchup, and the next generation took over their parents' restaurants and replaced the house specials, based on dishes from the old country, with glop incorporating so much sugar and corn starch that it leaves the mouth feeling chemically burned. So is it poison? Yeah, pretty much. But to the extent that it's worse than pure cane sugar, it is through economic and social, rather than biological mechanisms of action. It's only super cheap because of all the corn subsidies provided by the US government. That's why you don't see it in other countries. 14. This will get buried, but, as a gay man, I'm just really wanting to know, when can we talk about the dangers of poppers? Poppers are like the LGBTQ equivalent of weed. I'm not talking about the effect or intake method. I'm talking about how nobody ever wants to even consider the possibility that it could be doing harm to your body, and especially your heart. Poppers used to be used to treat angina. They actively speed up your heart and cause an arrhythmia, especially if you are mixing it with weed. It mimics effects like taking an upper and a downer at the same time. And because the effect of popper only lasts about a minute, most guys need to take them repeatedly to make the feeling last. It's completely normal for some guys to mix poppers with weed, Viagra, meth/tea, etc. Lots of guys are so addicted that they literally cannot have sex without it. I get so turned off when I have a hookup with a guy and he can't go 30 seconds without huffing poppers. It's such a stop-and-go activity that it's honestly annoying, and I hate the smell. And you can buy a bottle here in Chicago for $15. There are even gay bars with popper vending machines. Please stop using that bleep. I could make the same argument for those compressed sprays that people mix with poppers like Maximum Impact or Rush. But alas, nobody will listen to me. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments where you'd like to walk next.